Hi, and welcome to the third ever episode of the Byram Hills Blitz. I'm Matthew Levy, and alongside me is my co-pilot, Jesse Smallholtz. Jesse, how are we doing today?
I'm doing great. Excited to get started.
Alright, so now let's talk about boys lacrosse to start. The boys lacrosse team beat Edgemont and Nanuet handily in the quarters and semis, but then lost to Rye in the finals. How would you measure the team's success this year?
Yeah, I mean, they definitely met their expectations. Of course, every team wants to make it to the playoffs, and more wants to make it to the finals, and that's what they did. But when playing teams like Nanuet and Edgemont, who have never been a big rivalry for Byram, they were expecting to win that game, so their expectations were further than that. But then when going against a team like Rye, who is a big threat to them, they met their fate and lost that game. So that was the end for them, but they really should be happy of what they did this year.
And now this team loses a lot of core guys like Casey Bagleiter, Ben Mautner, Griffin Rackauer, who's going to play across at Princeton. How does this team respond, and who are those key guys that can maybe help them become a better team next year?
Yeah, they got guys like Will Mikutuk, who's going to be a senior, and Hayden, who's going to be a junior, both middies, and Hayden sometimes on the attack. Both will be key guys for them, another one being Jack Varsamis on the defensive end. They're all going to need to step up and have bigger roles this year with losing guys like these seniors this year. So now let's go to some girls lacrosse. They lost to Rye in the quarterfinals. They ended with a record of 9-4. Rye has always been a tough opponent for Byram in all sports, as you can tell. How do you think Byram will bounce back next year?
So I think in all these sports, I think when you play Rye, you have to play smart, you have to play as a team, and you have to play great defensively. And if you can do those three things and stick together, because if you listen to all that outside noise, like we're going to lose, then you're going to lose. You got to believe that you can win and show the opponent that you're going to be good and win.
Yeah, and like despite the early exit, losing in the quarterfinals, there's a bunch of individual accomplishments that can definitely boost the morale on the team, like Callie's Hoffman's 200th goal, Serena Oliveira's 100th save. It was a big year for the team. So how important is it to have moments like that will affect the whole team?
I think sports is always meant to be fun. And if you can have fun and celebrate these moments, like Callie's 200th goal and Serena's 100th save, that can really galvanize your team. Because if you're serious all the time, then you're not going to have fun playing sports. But if you have fun alongside that, then being serious and being fun will help your team become more successful.
Yeah, and a quick note on boys tennis. Congratulations to Nolan Sanders, who got top 16 in Section 1. That's a big accomplishment for him and the whole school, so that's great for him. Now, let's go to some track and field.
Yes.
Yeah.
So track and field, they had brand new coaches this year. First time in decades.
Yeah.
So now, how do you think that affected the season? Because you have some change. How does that affect it?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a big, I would call it a transition year for Byram for track and field. Having coaches that have been there for so long and you get in such a rhythm, and then having two new coaches come in and change everything around, that definitely can be scary for players. But in the end, I think players were really happy with what the coaches did this year. And I think it affected the season in a good way. It got a fresh start to them, and that showed with them having a really successful year.
And now, along with the new coaches, they also got some very good new additions. Can you talk about some of them and how their success?
Yeah, one being Steven Franco, who's just a freak of nature, fantastic athlete, where track was really excited to get him in there. I mean, he got onto the number one relay team just in 1 year, and who knew he had that speed, so that was really exciting for them. And someone like Spencer Sidoti, who everyone has thought to be that fast in soccer, finally brings it to track and field, and it really shows.
So now, can you just talk about some other accomplishments that happened over the track and field season?
So let's talk about states. Nicole Meyer got put on for 400-meter hurdles, Jen Moy for 2K steeple, and of course the 400 relay team being Spencer Sidoti, Pietro Perez, Wiley Troy, and Steven Franco, who made nationals with a time of 1 minute and 36 seconds. So a lot of accomplishments for the track team. So now let's transition to some boys baseball. They also had a really successful year. They made it to the double elimination round, first being to Rye and then ultimately falling to Nyack. They still really had a good season and should be proud of it. One of their setbacks was all the injuries they had. How did this affect the team?
So some key injuries: Carson Fry, great pitcher, only could hit at the end, and I think you lose pitching. He was coming into the year expected to be an ace. So now you lose that ace, you lose that leader, and losing that leader on the mound is very important. And they also lost the second best pitcher in Bobby Chacoin. So your depth goes down. So now it's tougher for guys like Nick Skyra, who played out of his mind this year. Then you also got guys like Andrew Sarno, who's got to step up. Luke Gordon stepped up. These guys stepped up and really helped this team become pretty successful for what the injuries they had.
Yeah, so speaking of pitching, which might be a reason for this, why do you think their season was cut short? What do you think the factors were?
I thought the hitting this year could have been better. The pitching stepped up, but the hitting, there's a lot of guys not hitting for great averages, and I think that needs to change next year because if you want to be good, you got to hit for average. And I think guys like Matt Nichols got to step up. Brady Karp, step up. Michael Vaccaro, Spencer Karp. These guys just need to step up at the plate, and that will help them become a better team.
And last question, what will it take to win the championship next year?
I think, as I just mentioned, better hitting. Guys like also Noah Ackerman. Guys need to step up at the plate. And I think pitching, got to hold up. If you're Bobby, you got to become that ace. And I think two other guys, I expect Skyra, and then I need that third to really cement them to maybe have a chance to go to states. Thank you guys for watching. And coming up, our next and final episode before the summer starts, we're going to go into a little fall preview of some boys soccer, girls soccer, and some football and some field hockey. Thanks for watching, and go Byram.
A lot of accomplishments for the track team.
So now let's flip to some baseball.
Yeah, so baseball also had a very successful year. Can't find it. I heard your flips. Yeah, so now let's transition to some. All right, so now it's.